Welcome to Agents Growth Academy. Class is now in session. Gang, I am super excited to bring you the Superman of insurance. You've probably seen him in his Superman shirt and his red jacket. The one, the only Tony Canas. He is a self-described proud insurance nerd, speaker, blogger, podcaster, author. Is there nothing this man can't do? And I also think that he's probably been in insurance since he was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old or something. He's all over my LinkedIn feed, and he's probably in yours if you're on LinkedIn. Welcome to the show, Tony Canas.
Thank you. That was a wonderful intro. There is one thing I can't do, math. Uh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
suck at math.
Yeah, I'm there with you, man. I'm a former English teacher. So that's I'm totally there with you. Yeah. Tony, I seriously like I'd love for you to kind of, introduce yourself. Um, Tell us how you got here today now from the time that you were 3 years old in insurance.
Perfect. Okay. So, born and raised in Costa Rica. So I speak Spanish natively. I went to the American School of Costa Rica, whose entire purpose is to prepare kids to go study abroad, especially in the U.S.
Yeah.
So I came to the U.S. in 2002 for college to study computer science at Iowa State University in Ames, Iowa. And
Nice.
so in the middle of nowhere, I had been to the States many times, but never in Iowa. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And it turns out that regardless of how geeky you are and how much you love computers, if you are not good at math, you will not survive a computer science degree. So I ended up switching majors to management information systems, which is computer science light business version. And I graduated from that. I really wanted to graduate from marketing, but that would have required an extra year of school, and my parents weren't willing to pay for it, and I couldn't get a student loan because I was a foreign student.
Yeah.
So I graduated from that. I'm in Des Moines, Iowa now, and I need sponsorship for a work visa.
Yeah.
The school tells me you're never going to find sponsorship unless you are an engineering student, which I wasn't, and I didn't even have good grades either.
Yeah.
So it was very hard, but I found a transportation company to sponsor me for a work visa, and I became a fleet manager for them. So I dispatched truck drivers for 3 years. And then in 2009, the economy crashed and transportation really, really crashed, and I got
Yeah.
downsized. And
Yeah.
it was sweet relief because I hated it. So anyway, so I get downsized, and I'm like, okay, I'm halfway through my MBA, which I'm doing on Saturdays, and I'm like, I just need a job until I finish my MBA. And Des Moines, Iowa, lots of insurance jobs. I end up falling into the within a month into the claims call center at Farm Bureau of Iowa, Farm Bureau Financial Services. They're Farm Bureau for like 8 different states,
Yeah.
and it's a call center. It's a true call center. Like I go from making like 45,000 a year, which was a pretty decent pay for Des Moines, Iowa, 10 years ago, to making 33,000 a year in a call center. Like it's a big fall from grace kind of thing.
Yeah.
But farm and literally, I am like the lowest level person in insurance. I'm taking the phone call when you call in a claim, and then the cool part was Farm Bureau was experimenting with this express claims model
Yeah.
where you took the claim, and if it was clear liability, not a total loss, no injury, you would keep it and work it yourself as a claims adjuster. So I got to learn a lot about claims, and they really invested in us. And from the very beginning, they told us, you have to. We don't want you in the call center forever. We want you to grow from here. And how you grow from here is you have 2 years to get your AIC or your AINS and your AINS, and then we hope that quickly thereafter you move on to somewhere else in the company. So I was already studying every day because I was getting my MBA,
Hmm.
and so I had the habit. Right, I'm not a good
Yeah.
student, but I'm a survivor, and I had the study habit built up. So I started. I very quickly got through my AIC and my INS, and then wanted to start my CPCU, and they wouldn't support it for well, that's its own story. They wouldn't support it
Ah.
right then and there.
Yeah.
They're a very supportive company, but anyway. So
Yeah.
I posted, I updated my LinkedIn to show my AINS and my IC, and Nationwide called. Nationwide was looking for they have their second biggest office is in Des Moines, Iowa, and they were looking for a senior medical claims rep because they were closing down the San Antonio office, San Antonio,
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
And surprise, surprise, the San Antonio, Texas Spanish speakers didn't want to move to Des Moines, Iowa, which is a frozen, hellscape in the winter. I love Des Moines, but you're right. If you're from Texas, you probably don't want to move to Des Moines
Yeah.
for because of the winter. So anyway,
Right.
they couldn't convince the Spanish speaking claims agents to move to Des Moines. There's not a lot of Spanish speakers in Des Moines with a college degree. Boom, they recruit me into the company. I
Wow.
spent a year in claims at Nationwide. Loved the company. Didn't like the way they handled claims. Again, it's a long story.
Yeah.
Got my CPCU very quickly. During that year, it took me 5 months. That's another big story,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't recommend doing it that way. But it worked for me, and very quickly that turned into an underwriting job. So I became a small commercial underwriting in Nationwide Ag. Note that I am from San Jose, Costa Rica. I don't think I had ever stepped foot on a farm. San Jose is a
I
big
was gonna
city.
say, do you like corn?
Uh, I love corn, but I have no
Now
idea how
you
to
do.
grow it. Right? I went to an agriculture university. I'm friends with a lot of farmers, but I knew nothing about ag
Yeah.
when I got into the underwriting job. But they hired me because of my CPCU, and I
Yeah.
promised them 2 to 3 years. A year into that job, I had become really active with the CPCU Society, both in Iowa and nationally. I had fallen in love with the topic of millennials within insurance and the intersection of demographics and insurance employment, especially millennials. And I had created the Des Moines chapter of the nationwide Young Professional Associate Resource Group. It's called the Gen Y ARG.
Okay.
And I was running that, and I was growing that very quickly.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people, like we grew it really, really fast. So anyway,
Yeah.
so I had really become passionate about that topic. So an opportunity comes around. I found it on Yammer. Yammer is Nationwide's in-house social network,
Okay.
and that opportunity comes around to join this program in at headquarters. It's called the Financial Leadership Rotation Program, and it's in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
And I apply for it. I get it. I make the move to that program. They invest a lot in me. They send me out to Scottsdale, Arizona for 6 months to Scottsdale Insurance, the NS company. I come back, and after 2 rotations, and you're supposed to do between 2 and 4 rotations. After 2 rotations, they showed me the door.
Oh.
Going back to the whole you suck at math part, right? Apparently, that's important in finance. But I was an internal hire. That program was really meant for external hires. I was an internal hire, so they said, if you were an external hire, we'd be firing you right now. But because
Wow.
you're not, because of your passion for Nationwide, your passion for insurance, and your history as an underwriter, where do you want to go? We want to keep you in the company. And
Yeah.
I said, I want to go back to underwriting or sales management. And
Yeah.
sales management had already told me no. A year before, they had told me that I needed 5 years of underwriting experience. Well, now they were willing to look at me. So I interviewed all over the country and ended up in Sacramento, California, as an inside sales manager. I did that for a year, and then I was ready to be on the field. I was to be a marketing rep. What do you agents call a marketing rep, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
HR. Well, my boss that brought me to California, Kevin Oakleberry, left the company, and he went to Mapfre. And his director got promoted to VP, and the first thing she said is, nobody goes on the field without significant commercial underwriting experience, which I didn't have.
Yeah.
And then I got a call from HR saying, "Hey, you're ready for a field role. We have a role for you. How excited are you? It's in Montana." I'm a Latino. I did not think it was wise to move to Montana. This was before 2016, but still, I did not think it was wise to move to Montana. And I was loving California. My girlfriend had just moved from Ohio to California. She would not go with me to Montana. I said no. I'll keep waiting for another opportunity. And then American Modern, part of Munich Re, came calling like a month later, and they recruited me for the field role
Yeah.
in Northern California. And basically I really missed the work that we were doing with the Gen Y group. It was
Yeah.
myself and Carly Burnham, also from Nationwide. At this
Yeah.
point, she had gone to Erie Insurance as an underwriter. I had gone to American Modern. I called her one day while I was driving around Northern California. And I said, "Hey, I really missed the work we were doing. We should do it for the overall industry." And that's how Insurance Nerds was born. InsNerds.com. It's now grown to a lot of other things, but that's how it was born. I started doing a lot of public speaking at conferences about millennials in insurance. I've done it over 60 times. It's really an award-winning, really fun presentation. I've done it at two big eye events, like Big Eye
Yeah.
of South Carolina. I was the keynote 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and Big Eye of Virginia that same year. and many, many other conferences, both agency and carrier side. Eventually, I find myself at Liberty Middle Market in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm
Yeah.
loving it. And I have sworn allegiance for 5 years. I've sworn to my girlfriend that I won't change jobs for 5 years. And then my girlfriend comes home from work one day. She's also in insurance. And she says, they don't get it. You need to write the book.
Mm.
So I did my camera die, by the way? No, okay.
No. Mm.
So I wrote the book. It's called Insuring Tomorrow, and it's about
Awesome.
how to engage millennials in the insurance industry. It came out in 2017, and then Fresh Prince style, my life got twisted upside down. And it's a long story, but two things happened. Number one, I connected with Greg Jacobson. Greg Jacobson is the son of the founder of the Jacobson Group, the largest and oldest executive search and staffing firm serving the insurance industry exclusively. 50 years old as of last month or 2 months ago. Basically, I used a quote of his to open my book
Yeah.
with
Let's
his
hear it.
permission.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and then when the book came out, we started a conversation and we started building a relationship. And at
Yeah.
the same time, Liberty was getting really squirrely about insurance nerds.
Yeah.
And it became clear, it's a long story, but it became clear that eventually I was going to be given the choice. Do you want to do insurance nerds or do you want to do Liberty? You can't
Yeah.
do both. The
Yeah.
problem was insurance nerds is a passion project that was not meant as a revenue generation tool.
Yeah.
So insurance nerds made very little money. To this day, it makes very little money. I couldn't do that full time.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want to give it up. So when Greg Jacobson said, hey, would you like to come over to Jacobson? And I said, are you okay with me continuing to do insurance nerds forever? And he said, yes. It was a match made in heaven. And
That's
since
awesome.
now I have been at Jacobson for almost 4 years. I love it. Unless they show me the door someday, I'm never leaving. Unless things change radically. Like, not only am I never leaving, I am never changing jobs. Like
Yeah.
I am 38.9 years old. I'm going to be 39 in a month and a half. And I want
I
to do
thought you were
this
bad at
very
math. Why are you
exact.
using decimals?
So I'm a month and a half from being 39. And I don't ever want to retire.
Yeah.
I want to have enough money to retire and not retire because I love what I do. And I
Oh,
want to keep running insurance nerds and keep doing my job at Jacobson forever. That's how much I love my current situation. So anyway, that's I mean I went a long way, but it really
no,
kind of
that's
gives you
great.
the best idea of where I come from.
Absolutely, man. No, it's fantastic. And honestly, like I think it's got to be inspiring for agents, agency owners who are listening, watching this. I mean, how passionate you are about the industry. That's why I joke about like you've been in insurance since you were 3 years old, because like you are so passionate. It's like you came out of the womb, so passionate about this industry. And I think there are plenty of people out there who feel that way. I also know that, one thing, and we're going to get to this in a second, talk about it, is kind of the challenge of, like the talent crisis and how people are feeling about the industry and kind of what to do. I just want to say real quick though, for
Mm-hmm.
those that are tuning into this, you and I are both in Atlanta, and you had invited me to come down to your place in Midtown and record, right? But it's a good thing we didn't, because our Atlanta Braves won the World Series,
I'm
baby.
not a
And
baseball fan, but yeah.
there's a parade going on today, right where you are. So I'm pretty excited that I couldn't come down today.
Yeah, no, you're right. And even before the parade, it's been loud this morning. There was an alarm going off for like 40 minutes. The police have been all over the place. Yeah, even though we're in a 14th story
Yeah.
and the windows are really thick,
Yeah.
it gets loud down here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if we hear anything, we'll know that that's just celebrating what we've been waiting for 26 years. I was a senior in high school here in Atlanta when that happened, and I remember, like, my kids are off school today. Well, my two older ones, because a lot of schools like closed down for the parade. I remember the same thing happening when they won back in '95.
My
But
my 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 dad was visiting
yeah,
2 weekends ago, and he's a general sports fan. He likes all sports,
yeah,
and we went to see a Georgia State game, $6, and we actually had a lot of fun. And then he wanted to go see a Braves game, right? And so basically, I had agreed that I would take him and his girlfriend and me if it went to Game 7,
yeah,
right? and it looked like it was going to be like $150, $200 a person for like nosebleed seats. So
Yeah.
I'm really glad that they tied it up before 7 and we
Yeah.
didn't get to go. So then he goes back home, and then out of curiosity, I checked for World Series tickets. It was like $900 for standing room only, and like
Oh my.
$1,500 for an actual seat
Oh my
in the
gosh.
nosebleeds. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's I heard a story about $1,000 parking spot.
Oh,
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
That,
it's
that
stupid. Like, just
yeah.
take an Uber,
Yeah,
but makes sense.
right. Right. That would also be good, especially if you're drinking. But crazy. Well, I want to dig into this, man, because yeah, I watched a video you put out I think yesterday, the day before, talking about like we can't put the genie back in the bottle in terms of working remote because of the pandemic, and I thought that was brilliant. I loved what you said. You know, I we're going to talk a little bit about the insurance talent crisis as it is right now in 2021. What can you tell us about that? What can
Let
you tell us about remote work, especially?
so yeah. Let's start with remote work, and
Yeah,
then
sure.
we'll add the talent crisis. Okay,
Yeah,
so
cool.
I've been remote for about 4 years, and my
Hmm.
girlfriend's been remote for about 6.
Okay.
Both of us with an insurance. So and we're not unusual, right? But it wasn't 70% of the people; it was 7% or something like that, right?
Yeah.
It and I've been saying for years. In fact, I will soon publish a probably next week publish a playlist with all my remote work videos
Oh yeah.
from
Good
the
idea.
Insurance Friends YouTube channel, and you'll see that they go for they like the first 2 or 3 are from before the pandemic. Okay,
Yeah.
so from before the pandemic, I've been saying the same thing. Uh, in insurance, 95, maybe 99% of jobs don't require you to be there in person. Now, there are some claims adjusters that have to be there in person. There's some loss control people that have to be there in person. There are some agencies, depending on the type of agency you run, that have walking traffic,
Hmm.
and they need some people there in person to accept Betty's check, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Or
Right.
to deal
Right.
with walking traffic or what, right? And those people will always, you will always need somebody there in person. I get that. Okay.
Hmm.
The other 95% of us, we don't make widgets. We make promises, and we make promises in a very digital way. Now,
Yeah.
our tools and technology are still working on catching up. Okay, so so I've been saying for several years that if you're not allowing remote, or if you're not allowing at least a couple of work from home days a week, but remote would be even better, you either have bad technology or bad management. I
Hmm.
just can't find another reason for it. Okay,
Yeah.
bad technology or bad management, and
Yeah.
I'd be happy to debate anybody anybody in the industry on this topic, right?
Change my
Uh,
mind.
exactly. I'd be happy I'd be happy to sit with any CEO and have this
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Bad technology or bad management. Okay,
Yeah.
so then on March 12th, Thursday, March 12th, 2020, the world shuts down. I am in at the CPCU Reinsurance Symposium in Philadelphia. I go on stage to be part of the panel. When I get off stage, I was the last thing that day. When I get off
Yeah.
stage, I take my phone off of airplane mode. I have a voicemail from my boss saying, "Call me immediately." I call him, and he says, "We have a travel ban." And many carriers already had a travel ban at that point, but we're
Sure.
a small company. We have a travel ban. Go home. And I asked, I'm scheduled to be at home office in Chicago 2 weeks from now for training. Am I still doing that? And he's like, go ahead and cancel that.
Mm.
Uh, and then like I hung up the phone and I go to the speakers dinner, and then I'm gonna fly home. And they announced that the rest of the conference is canceled because the county next door has declared an emergency.
Wow.
And this is apocalyptically crazy, right? I get on a
Yeah.
plane, and I come home, and I walk into my apartment, and my girlfriend showers me in Lysol, and we close the door,
Yeah.
and we don't leave. We don't have kids. We don't commute either.
Yeah.
We don't leave our apartment unit, not even to get the mail, for 11 weeks, 77 days. Okay.
Whoa.
Yes, we are expert quarantiners.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I would say,
Uh,
man.
Again, we don't have kids.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
fact,
So it's
we had
easier.
just moved to Atlanta. We don't have family here. We don't even know people here. So it's a
Yeah.
lot easier, right? So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
so the reason I tell a story is because that very day, most carriers, or every carrier, and probably a lot of agencies, but every carrier sent everybody home, said, take your equipment.
Yeah.
We're going to test tomorrow how it goes working from home, and we'll be back on Monday.
Yeah.
And then
How'd that go?
every carrier, Friday night or Saturday morning, sent out an email saying, don't come back, right? Now, they didn't say don't come back permanently. They just said, don't come back, right? We'll let you know when. It'll be a few weeks, right?
Yep.
Here we are 18 months later, right? And there's eerie stories about people finally coming back into the office, and like their half-drank coffee is sitting on the table growing mold because, right? Like crazy stuff. So anyway, the world has changed, right? I don't know if you're a nerd like me, but I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. Lord of the Rings started with the Elven Queen. I can't remember her name. Eowyn, I think. Saying in Elvish and then in English, the world has changed. I can feel it in the air. The world has changed. I can feel it in the water. That is a perfect.
Wow.
I need to learn the Elvish.
That's like chilling. Yeah.
Exactly, it's chilling. The world has changed. It's that simple. And your people have been working from home for 18 months, and they've been successful. They've made it work. They've been productive. If anything, they've been more productive. They're starting to burn out because they're not good at calling it a day at 4:30 or at 5 or whatever. You have to manage that. They are simply not, if and here's where we're going to a talent crisis piece. Okay. So somehow on that Thursday and that Friday, somehow carriers figured out the technology. I don't know how, right? I wasn't part of those conversations. They might have spent a lot of money. I don't know how it happened. Every carrier by the middle of the next week was fully functional with 90 or more % of its staff working from home. So the technology works. So if the only options for not letting your people work remote are bad technology and bad management, you're down to bad management. And that's a really bad look. Okay, and now let's talk about the talent piece of it. Okay, so for the entire time that I've been around, which is about 10 years, 11 years in the industry, the entire time I've been around, we've been talking about how bad we are at recruiting, how bad we are at engaging the younger generation. We've been talking about this wave of baby boomers retiring that's coming our way, right? Literally, it's been 11 years. Well, it
has been. It's crazy, right? Why are we still talking about this? Yeah,
because we haven't solved it.
Yeah,
that's why. That crisis is now here, and it was here before COVID. It's now really, really, really here. Okay, so what does that crisis look like? Okay, that crisis looks like the following. There are about 70 schools, universities out of the 4,000 universities in the U.S. that have the universities in the U.S. Probably about half of those, I don't have a good number, but probably about half of those have business schools. And out of those business schools, 100% of those business schools have accounting, finance, marketing, management. Many of them have logistics, but they at least have those majors, right? Okay. And they have very similar classes when it comes to the class you have to take for a business major.
Yeah.
Only 70 of those out of 2,000 or so that have business schools. I don't know that 2,000 number, but the 70 number I'm pretty good at. Have risk management programs. And those risk management programs, most of them are not majors. They're minors or concentrations within the finance department, okay? And only 2 of those schools, the 2 that happen to have the biggest risk management program, only 2 of those schools, the RMI one-on-one class is mandatory for all business majors.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Is one of those schools UGA? I'm just curious.
No. The only 2 schools that I have found where RMI 101 is mandatory for all business majors are Temple and St. John's. Temple in New York City, St. John's in Philadelphia. And that is why they have the 2 biggest RMI programs. Wow, they put really good professors on RMI 101, and those professors recruit the kids into the program. Okay. In the other schools, the kids get recruited into the program largely by Gamma Iota Sigma, the Risk Management International Fraternity of Risk Management and School Students. The International Fraternity of Risk Management and Insurance Students.
Easy to say.
And the way, you know how Gamma recruits them? I have asked hundreds of RMI majors how they ended up in RMI, and 95% of them have told me the same story. Gamma had free pizza and a great speaker.
Is that all it took?
I showed up for the free pizza, and the great speaker convinced me to give it a try, and then I loved it. That is how we recruit. Now,
so pizza brought you into the industry.
I'm not an RMI major, but for the RMI majors, okay. But the RMI majors, as much as we need to invest in that and support Gamma Iota Sigma, support your local RMI program, etc., support the community college to create RMI programs, support Rio Salado in Arizona, which has an online program for RMI, which is basically free to the students because they have so much scholarship money.
Yeah.
Anyway, support all of those. All of those only feed 10 to 15% of our needs on any given year. So to this day, 85 to 90% of the kids we hire did not plan to be in insurance during college, and they certainly did not grow up wanting to be in insurance. Even the ones that went to RMI, they didn't grow up wanting to work in insurance. Okay,
Sure.
So problem one, we bring them in, and this is not what they wanted to do. Problem two, generational issue. Boomers were a very loyal generation.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, because number one, they were promised lifetime employment. Number two, they had pensions. Number three, especially within insurance. Number three, they grew up in a world, and they were trained for a world where if you changed companies, that was a big black mark on your resume.
Yeah,
You change
that's
companies
true.
twice in your career, you'll never have another job.
That's so
Like
true.
it was bad, right?
Yeah.
That stigma is gone.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
in the overall economy, it's completely gone. In insurance, some carriers have done their best to fight against that change, but the reality is there's not enough kids working in insurance to be able to get away with it.
I just, to that point, I think I can like envision about maybe in my 20-year career, like 5 resumes that I've ever come across that had, less than 3 jobs on a resume, right? And the majority of them are
So
several,
from,
right?
from the perspective of a recruiter, and I'm not a recruiter, but I work for the largest recruiting company in insurance. And from the
Yeah.
perspective of somebody that does career advice for hundreds of young insurance professionals every year, chatwithtony.com, anybody can grab time on my calendar, and I do about 400 a year at all levels.
Yeah.
They get like every hiring manager complains about people jumping around, and then they get the offer.
Yeah.
It's that simple. So that is gone. And number three reason that we're in trouble is the entry level job in the industry has changed. The entry level job in insurance 20 years ago, 30 years ago was in the carrier side was something like multi-line claims adjuster, maybe even on the field, a really interesting, really meaty job where you could really pay your dues, you could really learn about the industry, you could really learn and grow. Okay.
Yeah.
Or something like a personal lines and small commercial underwriter, or on the agency side, producer kind of thing, or account manager kind of thing. On the agency side, it might not have changed as much, but I do believe that on the agency side, it's much harder to build a book of business today than it was 20 or 30 years ago, when if you had a good location, people would just stop at your location for insurance because they were forced to buy insurance, right? They're still forced to buy insurance, but they can buy it from anywhere, including like their Xbox. Like I've had my Xbox, like I've had State Farm and Geico ads on my
Really?
right? Yes, I'm not even joking.
Oh my gosh.
I pulled into a rest stop in California while I was a field adjuster, no, not adjuster, a field rep, and have the rest stop sponsored by Geico. like the only thing missing was a kiosk for me to get a quote, and it's probably there now, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, like building a book today is much harder.
Sure.
So, but on the carrier side, those entry level jobs today are the giant State Farm call center. My first apartment in Atlanta, literally, that was my view out the window, right?
Yeah.
That building, which wasn't finished at that time,
the one at Perimeter?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. State Farm built it, and then they sold it to their own holding company that holds real estate.
Oh.
That transaction from one to the other was the largest real estate transaction in the history of Atlanta at $1.3 billion, something crazy like that. Wow. That is how big that building is, and they only built it like 4 or 5 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
That building, it was a really bad investment, by the way, but and I said that before COVID, even more now. But that building is packed with young kids right out of college, working menial call center jobs and hating it. That is the entry-level job in insurance today. And it's not just State Farm. I don't want to call them out. They're a great company. Sure. It's Nationwide. It's Allstate. It's Travelers. It's all of the big carriers have giant call centers.
Yeah.
And those giant call centers are, on average, the entry-level job in insurance today. And they do a good job of one thing, of taking care of the customer cheaply.
Mm.
and efficiently. I
Yeah.
don't want to say effectively, but
Yeah.
efficiently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But one thing they don't do is help people fall in love with insurance as a career and help them grow.
So is that how we fix the talent crisis, or what is your solution to fixing the talent crisis?
So there's a lot to it. There's a
Yeah.
lot to it, right? I've got a 1 hour presentation and a book about this, and even those don't completely cover
let's
it.
let's boil it
Um,
down to a few minutes.
yeah. Okay. No. No. Number one, um, stop apologizing for working in insurance.
Mm.
When you're at a cocktail party or whatever, if those still exist, or a dinner party or whatever, maybe here in the South they do.
Yeah.
When you're at one of those and somebody asks, "What do you do?" Don't go, "Oh, no, I'm just working insurance." No, be proud.
Yeah.
I protect your livelihood. I
Yeah.
protect your home, your life, your business. Uh, eh, be proud about it. If your
Yeah.
kids, if none of your kids followed you into insurance, you did something wrong.
Yeah.
And not only that, I want not only your kids to follow you into insurance, I want their friends to follow you into insurance, because
Yeah.
you tell everybody how awesome of a career this is. That's number one. Number
Yeah.
two, support the risk management programs both at the community college and at the university level. No, number three, volunteer for programs that go to high schools to talk about insurance.
Okay.
There's a few of those. I think
Yeah.
Invest is the biggest.
Okay.
Number four, when you hire them, when you hire the kid, realize that they did not grow up wanting to work in insurance. Chances are, you, especially on the agency side, chances are you didn't pick up a risk management major,
Yeah.
because the demand's too high for them, unless you're Aon or Willis or something like that. When you hire them, for them, this is a job, not a career.
Mm-hmm.
It's your job to helping them over the first year or two fall in love with insurance, to help them visualize the career, to give them the tools to grow.
Is that part of what the insurance nerds community is? Is that like the
That
reason
is
behind
how
that?
how Insurance Nerds was born.
Yeah.
We do many things right now,
Yeah.
and the Insurance Nerds is the proverbial elephant who different people will tell you different things. Some people will tell you we're the best podcast in insurance. We're at least the biggest podcast in insurance.
Yeah.
Some people will tell you we're a community of insurtech people.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will tell you we organize great TED-style conferences around insurance. Some people will tell you we publish insurance books.
Yeah.
Some people will tell you we have the best YouTube channel about insurance careers, right? And some of the people that have been around for a long time will tell you that we have the best articles about insurance careers. We
Yeah.
have over 1,000 articles on the blog.
Wow.
And it's all free. Almost all of it's free, except for the books. Almost all of
Yeah.
it's free.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yes, where we came from was Carly and I saw thousands of kids metaphorically chained to the desk
Yeah.
in this how do I put it, in this digital sweatshop.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes, and dying to leave the industry, and many of them leaving to go to crappier jobs.
Yeah.
Many of them leaving to go work at Wells Fargo, because they have a big presence in Des Moines, and at that time that paid a lot because the mortgage market was really hot.
Yeah.
So even though those were not great careers long term, right? And we couldn't convince them to stay because because the company wasn't showing them showing them the long term future and how to get there, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we started Insurance Nerds. And we thought that it was a problem of this one company. It turns out, I don't want to call them out by name, but it turns out it was an industry wide problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Tony, man, dropping some truth bombs. I love it. I mean, this is. I hope people are really paying attention to this, because you're right, man. I think it all starts with the passion. That's what attracted me to you, honestly. I mean, you are so passionate about it. You with your red jacket and your Superman t-shirt. but honestly, I mean, that's, I think about you. You were talking about like if your kids didn't follow you in. Like my dad got lucky. I'm an only child, and so he had 100% hit ratio on me, right? He had one shot.
Great job. Yes.
I've got 3 kids, and I'm hoping that one of them will, right? But you're giving me food for thought, because it does kind of change my perspective about how do I get them passionate about it,
I have a friend in Oklahoma, a fellow CPCU. He's actually now in Austin, Texas. A very passionate CPCU, and him and his wife have only one child. I
Hmm.
can't remember the child's name now, but he's pretty young. He was a toddler last time I saw him. He's probably 5 now.
Yeah.
And they both my friend and the wife work within insurance. My friend's CPCU, the wife's working on it, and they are homeschooling the kid even before COVID for other
Yeah.
reasons. But they're
Yeah.
homeschooling the kid, and so the last time I saw them and I met the kid and the wife, we were having coffee in Austin, Texas, and I was there for a conference, and I joked, and I said, if you guys are homeschooling, you might as well like make CPCU part of the curriculum, towards the end of high school,
Yeah.
right? And he won't be able to get his CPCU until 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 he has 2 years of experience. But you know what? Get him an internship at the company that the one of you are working at for the last two
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
and like get him to be the youngest CPCU at like 17 years old.
Yeah.
And they're laughing and they're like, yeah, that's kind of the plan. And then I added, I remember the kid's name, I shouldn't say the kid's name even if I remembered it, but let's say
Yeah.
Noah. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you just go like, hey Noah, there are two careers there are two jobs in the
Yeah.
world. Okay, you can be an actuary, or you can be a commercial lines producer. Uh, and, and and the reason I chose those two jobs is because those are two really well-paying jobs within our industry, right?
Yeah.
And they're jobs for very different people, right? The actuary
Yes.
is going to be a math-heavy introvert,
Yep.
and the commercial producer is going to be a sales type person. So we don't know which personality type Noah will have, right?
Yeah.
But if you raise him with the idea of those two jobs, and he might end up being a rebel and becoming an underwriter, or becoming a claims adjuster or something. But either way, like he's very likely to land within the industry.
Yeah.
So I think that's the level of indoctrination we should aim for. Now I'm being a little facetious, but we're
Yeah.
so far behind that
Yeah.
we really should be playing at that level.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. My mother-in-law is gonna love listening to this episode because she just retired from teaching actuarial sciences for like I
Oh,
don't know how
awesome.
many years, and yeah, so she's gonna love that you talked about that. Um, man, this has been awesome. Before we wrap up though, I do have some rapid fire
Mhm.
questions that I think are going to be beneficial for our audience to hear kind of what you say about this. And I really appreciate everything that you've talked about today. I think it's very, very poignant, and we got to turn it around now. Tell me one piece of technology or software that you just can't live without.
I'm a techie. I'm a techie. I can't live without my iPhone, which I operate most years.
Yep.
Uh, my MacBook, I work off of my MacBook. It's not a work MacBook, it's my MacBook, but I work off my MacBook because there's nothing keeping me from doing it.
That's what I'm
Yeah, my
on right
MacBook
now.
is the number one. I do have a ton of equipment, more dedicated to content creation,
Yeah.
and I have some level of automation in my day job that I've created.
Okay.
So yeah,
Using any particular software or?
so I tried Active Campaign, and then I convinced the company to actually give me an official tool.
Mhm.
So we're using so our CRM is Bullhorn, which is a specific recruiting CRM or staffing CRM,
Okay.
so we brought some automation that's designed for that CRM.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, that automation is crucial to my day job. And for the content production side, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's a video called some of my favorite things in the insurance YouTube channel from about January this year that gives you the whole tour.
Awesome.
But I'm a techie.
Yeah.
I've got a ton of technology. But yeah, my MacBook and my iPhone are the ones that I could not do my job without.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Give me one book that you're either currently reading or that you would highly recommend. And if you can't keep it to
Okay.
one book, that's fine too.
So number one, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't, and if you're having trouble returning millennials, read my book.
Awesome.
Uh,
Insuring
on
Tomorrow.
Insuring Tomorrow. Yeah, very easy
Okay.
to find on Amazon. The reality is, I made money on it the first year. Nowadays, it sells so little that I make very little money over it. Send me an email and I'll send you a free PDF. Like I don't care about how much
Awesome.
it sells, basically. Uh, so I have a whole bookshelf.
Mhm.
Not only right here, but I have a whole bookshelf on the Insurance Nerds website. So insnerds.com. Click on resources, go to the bookshelf, and it gives you by career stage which books I recommend. I also do a lot of book
Oh,
reviews
wow.
on the Insurance Nerds YouTube channel.
Okay.
Right now, I am reading, and I'm always reading more than one thing at the time.
Me too.
But right now, I am reading a book about how to manage the sales force,
Okay.
even though I'm not a manager,
Okay.
and I don't want to be. And I'm also, I can't tell you what it's called, and I just started it. And
Yeah.
I'm also reading Angel Investing by Kalanakis, Jason, I can't remember his name. But anyway, he's a famous angel investor.
Okay.
And the reason I'm reading it is because I want to play in that space in the
Mm.
insurtechs. Not as I wanna be a broke angel. A broke angel is you're not throwing money into them.
Okay.
You're taking shares to sit on the advisory board, open doors for them, and advise them.
Ooh.
And I've done a lot of that without getting paid. I'd love to
Okay.
start getting paid for doing it. So that's why I'm reading that book.
I want to talk to you offline
And
about that.
absolutely. And for your audience, being brokers, uh, this is probably they've heard this a million times, but if they haven't read the Wedge and
Oh
they're in
yeah.
commercial
Randy
lines, they
Schwantz.
should
Yeah.
they should 100% read the Wedge.
Yep.
And if
That was
for younger agents,
that was one of the first books I read when I got in the industry.
for younger agents, if you have gone into an agency that's not supporting you,
Hmm.
and you're not learning fast enough, this beast, it's
Insurance
called Insurance
Genius.
Genius, the Commercial Insurance Detective by Jeff McIntosh.
Okay.
It's a beast. It's 225 bucks. It's heavier than a bad marriage. It's not the best thing in Spanish. Uh, uh, Jeff is a successful commercial lines broker out of Kentucky,
Okay.
and he's in his 50s, and basically he wants to give back at the end of his career, and the way he's giving back is he wrote this textbook. He believes that the reason that so many young agents fail, and really it's most,
Yeah.
is not because we don't teach them how to sell.
Hmm.
It's because we don't teach them how to pre-underwrite, how to
Yeah.
work with underwriters, how to partner with
Mm.
underwriters,
Yeah.
and how to properly fill out an accord form.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what this book is about now.
Yeah.
Um, yes, read the book. Hopefully next year, and hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn. Hopefully next year it'll be republished under the Insurance Nerds brand,
Yeah.
and I promise you it will not be 225 bucks.
Okay.
I don't know where
The
it'll be
industry
priced.
appreciates that.
Yes, because like that's just not what we do, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, Jeff and I have been working on recording a class about the book, and
Awesome.
we're about to finish recording. We've been recording every Thursday this whole year, and we're
Okay.
almost done recording. I don't know when it'll come out because the editing is going to be a beast, but it's coming. But anyway,
Yeah.
that book for young agents. So yeah, that's my advice for books.
That's awesome. We didn't even prepare this like too much beforehand. I love that you just had all these books lying around.
Oh, that's not all I have on my desk at all times. I also have my little Tony Superman bobblehead that Sarah Mooney's an
How
agent
can I get one of
in
those?
Texas. We'll talk afterwards. They're custom
Okay.
made. Yeah. I also have my Harry Potter wand, which I use during career conversations a lot. I say if I could wave my wand and get you the right job, what do you want to do when you grow up? I have my guitar that I don't yet know how to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and finally, my very, very, very favorite, I have my custom
Ooh. Ooh.
lightsaber from Disney World's Galaxy. What is it called? The uh, Galaxy's Edge. Oh my god,
Dude, that's
uh,
awesome.
it's
Oh
amazing.
man. I'm
So
jealous.
so
It's even
yeah,
got the sounds.
I've got a really fun man cave basically in
That's
the living
awesome.
room.
I know
It's
mine
kind of
looks so
impressive
boring.
that
I have like a globe and books. I need something really cool.
so yeah, that stuff is my favorite.
Yeah, that's awesome,
And
man.
if you're a Star Wars fan, I'm happy to tell you about that.
Uh,
What was the question?
yeah, no, you're good. Books. Last one before we sign off. One piece of advice that you would give to our listeners, just one parting piece of advice.
There is there are a lot of people who are passionate about insurance. Most people that work in this industry think that there are no people that are passionate about insurance. That's why
Mm,
I'm so visible,
yeah,
because I want people to realize that there are others that are passionate about insurance. There's nothing wrong about that. Be proud about that
yeah,
and find the others. And
yeah,
it took me years to find the others. But I have found them, and I built a tribe.
Yeah.
right? Check out the Insurance Nerd Slack channel at insuranceslack.com.
Awesome.
Uh, Check out anyway. Find the other people that are passionate about insurance,
Yeah.
and then help us spread the word, especially to the newly hired,
I love
because
it.
that's how we keep them around. That's one of the ways that we keep them around.
I love it. Tony, man, you are an inspiration to me
Thank you.
and I think to a lot in the industry. If people want to connect with you, find you, what's the best way they can
I'm
do that?
super easy to find on
Yes, you
LinkedIn.
are.
Tony Canas and a bunch of designations. You'll know exactly who I am, even though my official corporate photo looks nothing like me anymore because I have long hair now. But that's the agreement with Jacobson is that I will keep the official corporate photo, my LinkedIn photo. So I'm very easy to find. Add me on LinkedIn. Don't follow me. Add me
Yep.
as a connection.
Okay.
Click the more or the three dots and connect, because otherwise we can't message each other.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
if you want to have a conversation, grab time on chatwithtony.com. That's chatwithtony.com.
Okay.
I am open to have a conversation with any insurance professional or aspiring insurance professional, and the system to schedule it is automated, so it's very easy. Um, that's probably the easiest ways to connect with me. And definitely check out Insurance Nerds, insnerds.com, and check out the YouTube channel, the Insurance
Awesome.
Nerd, the Insurance Nerds YouTube channel, youtube.com/Insurance Nerds,
Awesome.
and subscribe.
And subscribe. Tony
It's free.
Canas, the Superman of insurance. It has been a pleasure having you on today. God bless you, man. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
See you, bud.